Do you work from home and looking to buy a house in Ottawa as a remote worker? This can be scary. What to consider? How's the internet? Where am I going to work? Are there enough bedrooms? Well, don't worry. I've put together a full overview for you as a remote worker, how to buy a property and not make any mistakes. In fact, at the end of the video, I'm going to share with you a live example of a client I just helped relocate from Montreal right here to Ottawa. And both the parents are remote workers and have 2 kids. Be sure to stay to the end to see how that case study worked out. If we haven't met, my name is Liam Swords. I've been a real estate agent right here in Ottawa for the last 20 years, and I've helped over 1,000 families find their dream home. As a remote worker, there's a lot to consider, and you don't want to make a mistake. So I've broken down this overview into 2 sections. Number 1, the location and the type of property. See, as a remote worker, there are really 2 things to consider. Where to actually buy, and the second is what type of home actually is most conducive for raising a family or living in that property, but also having that 9 to 5 daily job in your house. A lot to consider. So taking a look at the first area, number 1, where to live. The number 1 thing I get asked when remote workers are looking for property is how reliable is the internet? So that is a key factor. There's pockets in Ottawa that there are dead zones, but there's always a solution for that. But that's an important factor when looking for a property. Like Riverside South, as an example, has a pocket that consistently is difficult to get Wi-Fi. You know, I was showing a property about a week ago, and we have these electronic lock boxes now, and I was trying to access the property. My clients were there, and I couldn't get an internet connection. I had to actually leave the property, drive a few streets away to be able to get the Wi-Fi and 5G, so then I could actually get the access code to be able to access the property. There are solutions for that. That property did end up selling to those actual clients. There's lots of options for internet like Starlink, but typically the big ones are Bell and Rogers, and it's really important as a remote worker to have that confidence knowing that you have reliable internet, because let's face it, your employer is not going to be too thrilled if your internet speed isn't fast, if you're not producing. Making sure the internet is strong enough is by far a critical point as a remote worker. Then we get into more of the lifestyle. You know, when we talk about where to live, you don't necessarily need to live right downtown on, say, Elgin Street or in Lower Town or the Glebe or something if you really don't enjoy that area, but you were living there because of the proximity to, say, your office space. But now if you're a work from home, you have the ability to maybe move out to the country. You know, so that's really important to consider. What do you enjoy doing when you take a break? What's your lifestyle like? Do you have any pets? Do you have a dog? Do you like to go for a walk? Do you enjoy doing exercise classes or yoga? You know, stuff like that. I have lots of friends and clients who have the ability to take a noon class. So, you know, they're working from home, but they have a local gym close by where they can clip out at their lunch hour, do their fitness for the hour, and then come back to work. And it's just a wonderful blend. So, you know, taking a look at where you live in relation to the lifestyle you live is really critical. You know, I had some clients recently, they lived in Riverside South, and it was the Fam Jam house. It was right in a subdivision, 4 bedrooms above grade, 2 bedrooms below grade. So there were 6 bedrooms in that house. And it was a blended family, and they had 5 kids. So they lived there, I think, about 8 or 9 years. And then they contacted me because they said they're looking to move to the country because they both work remote and the kids have moved out. So we sold their home in Riverside South. I think it sold for $915 or so. And this was a 43-foot lot, 6-bedroom property right in Riverside South, just off River Road. And they bought a 6-acre property in Merrickville for, get this, $825,000. Look at that, almost $100,000 less than what they were living in Riverside South, and they got 6 acres. Now they are rural. They can't just drive 8 minutes to the airport, but that fits their lifestyle. And with the work from home remote option that both of them have, it made more sense. So we're starting to see more and more of that. Another thing to consider where you're living, if you're in a remote style or work from home, is these ability for like a co-working space or a coffee shop. I am hearing that from time to time from clients that do have that remote type work where having a local coffee shop close by where they can clip out for the morning and work away on their laptop, or have a co-working space where there's maybe a drop-in session. So where you live and the proximity to some of these auxiliary services and amenities is key when considering a work from home option. Now let's switch over to the type of property. So what we're seeing when we consider the type of property for a remote worker is having a dedicated room that they can set up as their office. A lot of people were shifted into the work from home option. It was like, hey, I'm just going to work on the couch, or I'm just going to work on the beanbag chair in the basement or something. But that started to turn into 6, 12, 18, 24 months of this work from home style, and people were like, whoa, like we actually need a spot where we can just sit down, close the door, and concentrate and work. So having a dedicated office is really appealing to the work from home buyer. The other thing to consider is, what is the sound like? Do you have a young family like I do? My little guy's running around and he's having fun. He's a kid. It's important to make sure that if you have your dedicated spot, is it soundproof? Is it an area where you can work your 9 to 5 or 8 to 4, whatever your hours are, but not obstruct the flow of your family? So sound is another consideration of where you're going to place your office. Sometimes I see clients suggesting that, I'll just, work in the dining room. Well, sure, but you're on the main floor. It's likely right beside the kitchen or family room. Is that really conducive to the lifestyle in your family's home and your kids are running around, or you got a dog barking, or you got an Amazon package coming? Just something to consider. What is the sound transfer like with where you're going to place that office? Another consideration is, what is the outdoor space? So we're talking about Ottawa. We have fall, winter, spring, and summer. So obviously in the winter, you're likely not going to be freezing your buns off outside on some type of Zoom or Google Meets call, but definitely in the spring, summer, and fall, what's the outdoor space like? Is there a front veranda or front porch or a back deck? Or are there some areas on the property itself where you can, sit outside and work away on your laptop, or just kind of brainstorm, depending on, if you're in the creative space? Is there an outdoor space that you can tuck away as part of your work from home and remote office setup? As we talk about type of property, I'm reminded by a client of mine that I sold about a couple months ago in Kemptville. So this particular client had a 3-bedroom built in 2018 Glenview property right in Kemptville. A nice, beautiful property. We sold it to him a few years ago, and he contacted me and said, Liam, I need to find a property with a main floor office that is not the dining room. I've been working in my house for the past few years, and it's obvious we're not going back to the office, and I'm done with being stuck in the basement. We went hunting, and staying in Kemptville was important to this client because his kids are integrated into the schools and hockey programs and friends and all that, so don't want to disrupt that. So we were able to find this particular client a really nice 2-story property in Equinell Golf Course, where it was a 2022 year built. It was a 4-bedroom, unfinished basement, backing on a green space. Theme to this is we were able to keep that client in that particular area and move them from a house where he was 100% remote to still being 100% remote, but having an office on the main floor. In fact, it was right at the front of the house. So as soon as you go in the front foyer, it was right there to the left. Then you had powder room, then you had staircase, then you had kitchen, family, dining room towards the back. It was beautiful. Now, this particular client works for a company in the US. He is not having active customers showing up at his house, but if you are a remote worker and you have people coming to your house to meet, having that front office is a wonderful benefit where, you're not having people traipse through your personal house. It's just right in the front foyer, right there to the office, and then there's a powder room right on the side. So I just, reflect on that as active deal that we did not too long ago, where that particular client was 100% remote, and what was so important to him was ensuring that he had a main floor office because he was just sick and tired of working 40 hours a week in the basement and having to look up at these small little windows. So I hope you found that helpful in breaking down what you really need to consider as a remote worker relocating or buying in Ottawa. Now, I'd like to take you through a live example. A client that I recently sold a property to. They were moving from Montreal right here to Ottawa, and both of them were remote workers. Here's a property that my clients that were relocating from Montreal to Ottawa bought recently. So we searched all over the local resale market for property, but couldn't find something that really aligned with what this couple was looking for. As I mentioned, both of them were working remote, so working from home 5 days a week. They had 2 young kids. So they settled on buying this brand new house here. And this is not an endorsement for this builder, simply giving you a live example of what these clients moved on. So they bought the Waverly 5-bedroom with guest suite, and the price on that was $947. So the reason why they bought this property is the size of it for the work from home option and where they were at. So I'm just going to pull into the actual layout of the property to give you a sense of how they made their decision and why they bought this property. Is it had a main floor guest suite right here. It did have the ensuite off of that, but they're going to use this as an office for one of them. And then the second floor had 5 bedrooms. So as I shared at the beginning of this, they have 2 kids. So this is where parents are. One of their kids is going to be here. One of their kids is going to be here, which leaves them room for another 2 offices upstairs. So they have an office here, or they have an office here. And I think they're planning on taking this one here as the office, and then this one here will be a guest bedroom. Also on this property, they had a finished basement, which was a nice offer in that sense for their kids to be able to have rec room, and it did come with a rec room ready. So this was finished through the builder, and then they did have the bathroom down there finished. So very important for this couple that were relocating from Montreal to Ottawa to be able to get into a home that was new, doesn't need any work. They could just move in ready. Having the main floor office was critical for them, and having a second office on the second floor with both of them working from home allowed for them to have a guest bedroom and 2 extra rooms for their kids. The other important factor for these clients was the actual, sort of neighborhood and where it was. So I just wanted to draw your attention to that. I'm going to zoom way out on this to give you a sense of where it's at. So here's Ottawa proper. So here's Ottawa proper, and then here's Brookline in Canada. So in terms of getting there to Brookline, Canada, you're probably about 45 minutes in time to get there, but lots and lots of options for these clients who are moving there. I'm just going to pull in to show you what is available. So you have schools, you have lots of restaurants, Ottawa Senators. So the NHL hockey team plays right here. It's a big sports facility right here. You have the Highway 417 right here that brings you right into Ottawa. Lots and lots of shops and restaurants all in close proximity. So these clients moved from Montreal to Ottawa. Everything was close. There's lots of schools, lots of parks, lots of recreational activities. I think there's 5 different rinks in Canada. So from a neighborhood perspective, it really made a lot of sense for this couple moving from Montreal right into Ottawa. And again, getting a 5-bedroom home allows for them to have the upstairs office, 2 rooms for their kids, guest bedroom, and then the primary bedroom. And in this particular property, it did have a main floor guest bedroom, which they're going to be using as an office. So I want to thank you for watching today. I hope you found it informative as I walked you through as some things to consider if you're working from home and looking to buy in Ottawa. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next video.